Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you.
here with Aidan Fraei, 10 years of hospitality experience, then jumped right into the deep end of real estate 13 months ago. Been a part of 30 sales and a lot of transactions, and things are picking up momentum, which is very, very cool to see. So welcome to episode 1, the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Very good.
Proud to be here. Number 1. Day 1, haven't left, still here. I think it's it takes a lot to fully jump in. And I think that's maybe, background to my story why I'm still here, because every day is just a challenge.
Yeah.
Every day is so different compared to where I came from, which was
autopilot.
autopilot.
You want to talk a bit about, say, what experience you kind of built up with before jumping into real estate? Like, what were you doing?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, I started working in bars and restaurants when I was 16, 15. So you're immediately thrown into face-to-face people, conversations, money handling, managing people. You slowly progress into, supervisor, manager, and then you kind of reach the ceiling where there's nothing else to learn. And it was very easy unless you kind of started looking abroad. Hence, I went to Melbourne for a good time pre-COVID. That was the nucleus of fine dining before the world shut down. So I learned a lot about how to deal with people. And I think negotiating has come from the real estate learnings, but the people training, you can't learn that. You can read books and books and books, but like dealing with people on volume over 10 years kind of gives you this nice little blueprint of how to talk to people. So I'm very fluid with words. You just need to sharpen up, especially now, like this industry, you have to really learn dialogues. But I think the main transferable skill was, it's definitely people, alongside probably work ethic. You work some pretty hearty hours in hospo, like 15, 16-hour shifts, and then you're back the next morning. So I'd say drive, and it went like that. But on the kind of 5-year mark, there just wasn't anything else for me to learn, unless you change venue and it's, it's fresh, there's new people, it's new food. But in comparison to a year in real estate, like it's challenging, it's stimulating. I think I needed that. That was the biggest thing. I'd reached the ceiling. I was just hovering around here, and even owning your own restaurant, like people, that's the number one, I guess, pursuant dream. Even then, it's risky. It could flop. It's not as fraudulent as real estate. But
That's very good. Yeah. People skills, number one, that's kind of a bit different from what I started with. I had very lacking people skills because my first job was a property manager. So I wasn't even talking to many people. I was just dealing with a few problems. And you kind of, different people have different pathways, and it's very interesting to see how your fluidity translates so well to real estate. And the more people you speak to, the better you get at speaking to more people. 100%. And that's on the phone. It's in person.
100%.
It's known. It's the tonalities and trying to deal with people in a nice way. And it's sales in a way, because you're trying to sell them on your idea and 100%. Be a nice person 100%. And get them on your team. Because as soon as someone is a friend, then that's when they're going to want to work with you. And it's all about, how do we get them to my team so that we can work together and do business? Because that's all. People just want to be friends.
Yeah. Everyone's human. Like, if you peel back layers of any job, people are going to want to work for you or with you if you're a nice person. Like, you can have all the flashy things, and at the end of the day, everyone's human. They just want to feel like they're thought of and not forgotten. Like, if you're just an employee on a rack of employees that are like the building, like working at QT, like there's 150 employees there. I was a small piece to a very big puzzle. So when you're on a good team, it's, you're like a firecracker. You just keep going.
That's really good. What are you doing now in terms of trying to build relationships? What are you aiming at in the next couple months in terms of building relationships with clients?
Look, I'd say I've probably learnt both the hard and the easy way of the importance of nurturing. And if you touch point someone, even with a text or a phone call, or you're in the area and you literally just pull your car over, get out and say, hey, you're painting the fence, that looks great. I did that to someone yesterday. Sandy from Browns Road. And it's, you need to you need to remember that these people will remember you. You want to remain front of mind. There's that quote, be their agent before they need an agent.
Yeah.
Like they want to have, a fridge magnet when they go to grab the milk, your face is there and they go, oh, they came in. The importance, I think, of maybe the next 6 months to 12 months is if you drop the ball with someone else will be there that afternoon. There'll be a barfoot signboard and you've just dropped the board. We've lost listings. It's important to remain, you said it before, like their friend. Yeah. Just adding value. Not like, hey, I'm trying to sell your house, sell with me, like poking. Like you just want to be like, hey, it's Aidan, look, 2 doors down, John and Smith sold their house for X. What are your plans? Yeah. Do you want us to maybe mention your property? Just keep it casual, but also professional. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of the basically the pie chart in real estate is people only remember, say, 1 or 2 agents in their head at all times. And
100%.
There's hundreds of agents everywhere. So you want to be that number 1 or number 2 on the shopping list. And that's where you're going to get that.
I think one thing I figured out quite quickly when I started was, if I can have this spreadsheet of numbers, then hundreds of agents are calling Bob John at 123 Smith Street. So you kind of want to be not like just, the random guy from Spark or Vodafone, the call center kind of, hi, do you want an appraisal? Yeah. We've got the buyers. You actually kind of want to go against the grain, which I think, we've been quite successful in, but it's very initial stages. You kind of want to be memorable without being a dick. Yeah. Because you don't want to push too hard, but you want to be memorable. And they're friendly. Everyone's a human. So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of your call sessions when you speak to clients. You try and make them feel really special. If you like speak to Janet, hey Janet, my day's going so much better that I just spoke to you. And just having that really good empathy and trying to make brighten up their day because all they have is a little small speaker in their phone, and then you've just been this lovely, energetic person.
I think, look, one thing, and shout out my dad. He always made anything funny. Always positive. Like even today, I spoke to someone. I'm like, this is the best weather I've seen in Auckland all year, and it's horrendous outside today. Yeah. But it's just that little. It's the icebreaker that kind of flicks the bean off. Like it starts the conversation. Yeah. It sets the tone for kind of the direction you're trying to get there. If they follow you, that's fine. If not,
you're molding the present moment. If you've been that positive, so Grant Scott says no negativity allowed, always positivity. Yeah. If it's raining, I say, look, it's great for the plants. They're getting water.
Door knocking, everyone's inside. Like it's how you see things. Yeah, I agree.
Talk to me a bit about the volume of number of people we communicate and speak to for a successful real estate business.
Big question. Look, I think the initial accountability when I started on your team, it was very simple. It was like 100 calls, 2 meetings, 100 calls, 2 meetings, except so to rinse and repeat that alongside the dialogues and the scripts, like there's a certain chunk of my head that's just like Lawrence, Kenyon-Slade, Ray White, all everything I've learned. But you need to speak to as many people as possible. And it's not dials. Like you need to speak to at least 40 people through the phone for at least 2, could be 10 minutes, depending on what it's about. Yeah. But everyone's a human. They want something from you. You might have it for them, you might not. But you need to speak to as many people as possible. Even with, door knocking or open homes. Someone who's coming through the open homes, they have a house to sell, they have to sell. So you kind of want to convey every kind of avenue of communication. Volume is probably the biggest thing. You can nearly brute force your way into success. The teapot story. That's a good one. But
what is a teapot story?
Well, the teapot story, there's a university teacher, and he had a class of 60 students, and he split it into 30 and 30. And he told the group of 30 first, he said, guys, look, in 1 month, we're going to have our final exam. When you come back, I want you to present me the perfect clay pot. Just one. And then for the other 30, he said, guys, look, in 1 month, we've got our final exam. I want you to bring as many clay pots as you can bring. Bring as many as you want. Fast forward to the end of the month, 30 that had to make one, they put theirs forward. It was good. It had some cool little designs and a nice handle. The 30 that had to make volume, not only did they bring share volume in more teapots or clay pots. They perfected it so well that it was the best teapot the guy had ever seen. He said, oh my God. And I think the takeaway is you can brute force your way into perfection. Volume trumps most things. So the more people you speak to, you said it, the more fluid you're going to get. You have confidence, you know statistics, you know what to say. And I think one big thing we probably should touch on is objection handling is a really interesting tool to use. But volume's probably as simple as it sounds.
Yeah.
You just need to keep
comes down to practice. So the more you practice, the better you get. So it's like a soccer player. 100%. So if he's going to kick the ball 1,000,000 times at the goal post versus the other guy that kicks it 100 or 200,000. The guy who's kicking it 1,000,000 is going to be so much better.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's through calling. My first year in real estate, I did 8,000 calls. Didn't do too much, but I was just trying to get over that social anxiety and just figure out what you want to say. Because you don't know what you want to say, but once you've said it 1,000 or 8,000 times, then it becomes fluid and it just moves off the tongue so easily. You got
to love rejection. You have to love rejection so much that it becomes natural. Like, everyone's going about their lives. They get a random phone call, it's just a random number. They could pick it up. You're interrupting their life. I find that volume's probably going to trump most things. You can perfect it and instead of spraying and praying, you can snipe a shot one person that you know is probably going to sell. But I think volume trumps everything.
That's good. That's very good. Talk to me about what, in terms of our workload and time management, what do you do through the week in terms of juggling these different hats in terms of your workload and priorities, and what else do you have to balance this workload with?
Look, I mean, I'm getting married. I'm engaged. I think it takes a strong partner to understand someone who wants to go far in real estate. It's not for everyone, and a lot of people leave within the first couple of years because they can't. Workload is like we live off a calendar. You know this. It's an absolute rainbow of organization. Every colors, photos, and open home, and this and that.
Yeah.
You have to be tremendously driven to come back to the same. If you left problems from the day before, that's a bad call. You have to get out of bed every single morning and revisit the same thing over and over and over and over. Obviously, open homes on the weekend, it's a bit more relaxed, but juggling a schedule, it's not that difficult if you know how to schedule your time. And just quickly on time, like once you work out how important things are and time, your dollar per hour kind of value, you don't piss around with a lot of stuff. There's a lot of fluff in the offices. And
you don't get paid to pitch up at the office, and that's what people think. You get paid to pitch up here and sit here and talk to your friends, but you're getting paid $0. You're only getting paid for making a conversation with a potential seller or actually talking to them.
I completely agree. Even in my first 15 months or whatever it's been, there's been so many people come and go. And I'm sure you would have seen more. And those people were the ones that did come here for the ha-has and the coffee and the, oh my God, how was your weekend? You can juggle 20 balls perfectly if you know how to juggle. And you need to systemize your whole life, nearly down to like wake up, gym, coffee, office, appraisal, photos, vendor meeting, boom, boom, boom. You have to do that. And if one falls, then it cooks you next day. And you have to be onto it. You have to be.
And scheduling the downtime as well.
It's
fiance time, eh?
Yeah, look, and moving forward, I just got back from Rarotonga. I did a couple months in America. You work hard, play hard. I do think it's, the work-life balance thing's a little bit cliche. If you want to really, really give it a crack, it is important. You have to switch off at some point.
Yeah,
because you'll just explode with information, or you get a big team, and then you take a bit of time off.
That's it. In terms of self-development, in terms of your skills over the past 1 year, what are the things that's projected you ahead of the other rookies that have also been here for 1 year? Why do you think you've kind of picked up things a lot sooner?
I mean, minus yourself, I'd say I'll tell you a quick story. I remember going to careers evening in Manurewa before I signed a contract with you. This is, probably 16 months ago now.
Yeah.
Pat got up in Monica and blah, blah, blah. I remember walking in, and at the time I didn't know anyone. And Tom Rawson, who's obviously the director, played this card that he was an agent, and we were just talking, having a beer, la la la. And he was like, "Who are you here for?" And I said, "Oh, Lawrence." And he said, "Ooh, Lawrence." He's like, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah, I'm here for Lawrence." And that kind of, I was like, I thought about that for the whole evening, and I remember thinking, man, who's this guy that I don't know at this stage? Push come to shove, fast forward 18 months, I'd say to answer your question would be your guidance and accountability initially, but then you kind of like, I held your pocket for a bit, and then I think you found the confidence thinking, okay, I've rolled the dice on Aidan. He can probably go quite far. Real estate gym, sales books, learning from listings is very, very, very important because every listing's very different. And I think it's consistency and probably the accountability part alongside the culture in the office. It's a very cool place to work. But real estate gym, we've been to AREC conferences, podcasts, that a lot of people like the glitz and the glamour of, I work in real estate, I'm going to be a real estate agent, but they don't really potentially understand you can go very far if you really, really, really grind it out initially. And you look back at a lot of the number ones, they did a lot of their hard work in the start, and then it kind of pays off maybe three years down the line. So,
Real estate there's a lot of leverage, and it's leveraged. It's looking more into the more leadership style that I'm getting into now. Real estate is a game of training other people, retaining them, motivating them to actually do the work, and then retaining that culture of self-development and learning from each listing and building each other, and you build strength to strength. So it is all a retaining of knowledge and energy, and then pushing forward because you've built this culture. Almost like a cult culture.
You're a sports team. You know? So you got to wear the uniform together. And it was the same in hospo. There were people that you saw that shone through that wanted to stick around, and the ones that were just like kicking tires, here for the money. They don't like it, and they leave within a couple of months. And we've had a few of those. So but I'd say sharpening the axe, as you say. You have to be good.
What are some of the highs that you've over the past 1 year we reflect? What any some highs that you've come across?
We've sold a lot. I've sold 30 plus ish, circa 12 months. Some of those sales are more memorable. Obviously, we sold my mum and dad's house. That was cool. Yeah, that was really a cool learning curve. Sold them, got them into their next spot. We've listed quite a large one, the Big Mama, as we refer to it, 7 mil ish up in Otahu. And that was quite interesting for me because I've never thought of that sheer amount of money. That's quite a large number, and there's even larger listings. There's bigger ones, hundreds of millions. And for people that aren't kind of inside the door per se, that's quite an interesting. Get to see behind the curtain. That's a good quote.
How did you get that $7 million listing with the guy?
It kind of ropes into Mum's place. So, Mum and Dad's house, Totra Heights, 3-bed, little bit of a reno. I was wrapping up the very, very, very last open home prior to the auction that was coming up on Wednesday. This beaten up Mitsubishi Lancer drives up. I'm pulling the flag in, and this hunched over Kiwi Asian woman with missing teeth gets out, and she's, "Oh, it's the open home." I said, I actually had the next one. I had a gap in my calendar, so I thought, man, why not? I was like, "Oh, guys, come through." Lovely, elderly, 70-plus-year-old couple. Walk through Mum and Dad's place, looking to downsize, they say, and I just asked the right questions. I said, "Oh, it's your first home?" They said, "No, we've got a house." Okay. What are you looking for? Something smaller. Oh, where do you live? Oh, we've got 5,200 squares up in Onehunga with 5 dwellings and units on it. And I thought, lightning went off. I said, "Look, what are your plans?" Like, and I just from doing volume of open homes, you begin that someone's selling. I just got maybe luck had a bit of part to play. But they also had come from open homes that day, and the other agents just didn't ask the right questions. Push come to shove, we've got offers, circa 6 mil at the moment, and it's maybe going to sell before Christmas. We don't know, but you kind of, you have to know what to say. I got maybe a bit lucky.
You just don't know. They could have looked homeless.
They did.
They looked homeless.
She had a New World bag for a handbag. Like I would have, and it's terrible to say, but you naturally immediately think like, man, they wouldn't even be able to buy this. This is $900K.
Yeah.
Little do I know they own land in a prime location for the last 50 years. So you just don't know.
You just can't judge anyone. Yeah. I picked up a listing from a tradesperson on the side. I was doing an appraisal on another property. The tradesperson was doing a renovation, replacing the heat pump, and he found out that he's selling his property. Yeah. So you have to speak to everyone at the end of the day.
I remember being a kid, my mum would actually tell me off for speaking to too many people. So that on that note, I used to get told off for speaking to people. So I love it. I'll say hi to anyone. Everyone's a lead.
Yeah.
Door knocking, you'll be out. I've stopped cars while I'm door knocking. Like everyone has to sleep somewhere. They could be renting.
Yeah.
But they could have $10 million worth of commercial. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone's a lead.
That's it. Yeah. That's very cool. Very good. With technology, let's say new agents coming into real estate, what should they do with technology side? What do they need to hit the ground running?
Obviously I have 2 phones, an iPad, the top of the line MacBook, and you need it all because it makes the job quicker and more effective. You can quickly sign it off. Like you need an iPad, I would say, is probably the biggest tool. Not only for signing things, but just to have on your person at all time. You can pull street reports, you can look on Relab, take offers. I'd say the use of dictation is a tremendous game changer. I still walk around the office now and people are sitting there. Hi, sir, would you like an appraisal? Where you can just, even on laptops, you can just go, boom, say, hi, mate, you came through the open home. Do you have any interest? Price feedback, boom, boom, boom. And it's just quick. Yeah. You can do more and you can do more and you can do more. iPad, you need good AirPods. You need a decent laptop. And you have to have a good calendar system. I think if you walk back 20, 30 years, iPads and these phones weren't around. Yeah. People were printing offers and driving 20 kilometers to get a countersign and driving back, and we can just send it now. So
real estate game has changed. You can see that some of the top writers in real estate, some of them are in their early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. I know there's a guy who's aged 25, 26 in Ray White, and he's writing $3 million commission. But it's technology. Right now the thing is speed and technology. Speed is your currency, as Gavin would say. That's what
speed is your currency.
Speed is your currency. Yeah, to get things done.
Yeah, it's, and I feel like I've kind of got quite lucky. Not maybe it was quite a fun market to learn the tricks of the trade, but it has been quite condensed, and you just become fluid and transparent with all the tips and tricks and saving time.
This is a really good market, and the reason we say it is because listing numbers have gone up, the mortgage approvals are up, prices have dropped. It's kind of like the amount of money people making through as agents has halved. People that are writing 1.5 million has dropped to $800,000.
Halved.
So it's literally halved based on the current market. So the skills that you learn in a bad market are going to give you those tools for the best markets. Yeah. And this is just this is just practicing and sharpening the blade at the end of the day.
And like on that note, I feel like there's a couple, chickens in the roost in the office that may have been quite popular during COVID times, and now it's not like that. Houses aren't selling themselves, and they've kind of gone, shit. How are we going to continue when life was so easy 3-4 years ago and boom? Who knows if that's going to happen?
Continuous learning. What are any top mentors that you've kind of followed? For more real estate side, and what in terms of mentorship?
I listen. Like there's probably a handful of people I genuinely enjoy listening to. One thing that Rubenstein said this morning was like you have to be yourself. I feel like a lot of people see successful agents, Tesla, whoever, whatever, and they go, I need to be like him. I need to do exactly that. And it's not like that. Even in any career, it's never like that. You have to be yourself. You can do the same thing,
Yeah.
But put your little fling on it. Like, be yourself. Because people read raw emotion. Gavin Rubinstein, I'd say Alex Phillips just for professionalism and I guess street appeal.
Yeah.
Teslin is probably the backbone to a lot of mine, alongside yours, I know, learning. Because he just lost his job. Like, we've all heard the story a million times. And then he's just taken it to a whole nother extreme. He's topped the scoreboard for years now, back to back to back, in a cute little pocket in Australia. So he's showing us that, look, you don't need shit.
He's got the system.
He's got the system.
It's just the system that is trumping everyone else.
And that's it. Trumping's a perfect word. Like, call a spade a spade. He's I think it's nearly double if you look on Pulse.
Yeah.
I think he's 7 point whatever, and the next person down is like 3.6. So Rubinstein, look, Teslin, Phillips, Tom Panos he's kind of an old school blend with a lot of new school. He's Greek, he's loud, he's flamboyant. Yeah. He's got heaps of stories. He's had cancer. Like, he's a really cool person to listen to.
Just a good interviewer. Good questions.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then, look, I'd say probably those four would be top. There's a few underneath that kind of fall under. But on that, they're all kind of saying the same thing a lot of the time. It's just what you want to listen to. That's it.
That's good. Getting wrapping up into the last two talking points. What are you looking for in the next couple years or few years? What are your aspirations in the real estate game? What are you looking towards?
I think most recent-ish learning is, I'd like to kind of break away from kind of the smaller socioeconomic sales and more into some of the premium lifestyle ones, more, $1-2 million plus residential. You can do a lot of it, but I'd say I want to get into the big ones. The bigger ones I've found there can be less hurdles to jump over, and they're very stern. They may take longer, but it's more luxury. It's, the 7 mil one. We've got one coming on Redoubt Road shortly. Yeah, that's our first signboard on the road there. So hopefully more from that.
Exciting.
Yeah, very much so. Look, I'd say most people, year on, year out, regardless of who they are, what they do, they want to get better. I'd want to double what I've done. So, I'd say capacity-wise, 10, 15 listings on the go at once.
Yeah.
Of those 15, I'd want to kind of sharpen up and not just, sign up, a little 2BD in Mangere or whatever it is. I'd rather do a lot of bigger ones where you can maybe juggle buyers through them, kind of smooth out the creases.
Yeah.
So there's just more there.
If we do get small ones, laying it off to someone else.
Kind of hospital passing it. If
they can work it.
Yeah, and that's it, because I feel like when I started, it was we listed so much very quickly that I learned everything very quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've now figured out it's the same thing. Every person's different, but the problem of selling the house, they want to sell, we're there, cool. The price is there, buyer might be there. It's all the same. It's very repetitive, but it's so not repetitive.
Yeah.
It's like it's a different trailer for the same movie over and over.
And we play with big pieces of money all the time. And big pieces and big emotions because there's big money.
That's it. Like, Pukaiti, he wanted 2.4, he owed so much money.
Yeah.
Took 1.8 on the same day. There was lawyers and stress and honestly, if we peeled the layers back for every single individual listing, they wouldn't be at all similar on any level. Because, I'd say 30 sales-ish in 12 months, 60 sales in 12 months could be achievable.
Yeah.
That's the target. And I think most people should want to at least try and double it.
Yeah, do one a week.
Well, that's it. And if you don't get there, man, you gave it a good crack. Like, you can't lose if you quit. Simple.
100%, yeah. With if you were to look back past couple of years, is there any advice you'd give to yourself or things you would have done differently?
Oh,
any reflections?
Done differently? Look, I'd say probably knuckle down harder, quicker. I think at this stage, I had to do my license before I met you. And I think getting your ducks in a row and kind of figuring out. If I could give advice to myself, it would be to read more sales books. Because we're not the first two agents to sell houses. People have done this for years and years and years, even in huge tax brackets.
Yeah.
And they've written and rewritten and written books that are just the golden Willy Wonka ticket to how to speak, what to say.
Yeah.
So I'd say training is quite important. I think people forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say it's powerful to realize that.
Yeah.
If you look at Elon Musk, he was reading 2 books a day.
Yeah, see.
He said he never got a degree in rocket science. He just read lots of books, and then he was the head engineer for SpaceX because he's read all the books on rocket physics. So it is. He just reads. People always make the joke it's not rocket science, and he just studied rocket science, and now he's a rocket scientist.
And everyone knows it's a household name.
Yeah, and it's just books.
It's just books.
2 a day. So
even like I try and do at least 30 minutes of learning, whether it's pre or post work. Like you nearly forget about it because it's easy to not do anything.
Yeah,
you have to be disciplined, like fitness or cold shower or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
you have to because it becomes in hand on heart. I've listened to things in the car on the way into the office and then literally use them that day. To negotiate a deal or talk to a buyer, and it's worked. So had I not listened and listened to music, like
it's learning, but then taking the action to implement it.
I think
then you would remember it.
That's the other thing. You use it once, and I'm like, oh my god, that worked. But of course it worked because it's like someone's tried it over and over and over, and they're just letting us know. So definitely reading more sales books and potentially like sharpening the axe so it's irrefutably paper cutting sharp when the time comes.
And on that note,
thank you.
Thank you.
No worries. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Beauty.